This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, after capital, what's there?
Oh, MPL, marginal product of labor and marginal product of capital.
Okay,
marginal product of labor, marginal product of capital, because I just want to show you how we calculate those. That's what is more important, and that's what you need. Maybe you can even still add. Let's add the column a bit so that you can also average product of what? Average product of labor and average the product of capital. I think, yeah. We have added the columns. We have added, because these are the things that you have to know under production function. If you know these, then you are good. You should be good. Right? You should just be good. So let's start number one. So the first question is requiring you to fill in the schedules for marginal product of labor, the schedule for marginal product of capital, the schedule for average product of labor, APL, this one. APL is the average product of labor and the average product of capital. How do you come up with those and how do you find those schedules? That's what we just want to examine, okay? Let me just start by defining what a production function, so that at least you have the general scope of what it is. More like I'm talking to people online, but I'm also talking to you, so don't just few hours of the class. So what is there is that when you talk about the production function, you are looking at one aspect of firm theory. Okay, this is firm theory. You're studying the companies now. Remember, all along you've been studying the consumers. Okay, when you're studying utility, all those things, that's about consumer. You've just been trying to understand the behavior of the consumer. But when you move to production function or production theory and the cost theory, you're trying to study the behavior of the firms now, the companies themselves, the producers. In other words, so you're studying the behavior of the producers. That's what you're trying to do. Every firm, most of the firms are profit maximizing firms. So they exist for what? For profit, isn't it? They have to make profit. So as they need to make profit, they have to undergo some processes under production. They have to be producing some goods or some services. So as they produce the goods and services, they should have some guidance. You're following that, right? They should have some guidance. They should have something that helps them, or to see if they are able to achieve what they intend to achieve. You're getting that one, right? So there is the function that draws the relationship, okay, between the input and the output. The function that draws the relationship between the input and the output is called the production function. Don't worry, you're understanding, I know. So what is there is that the inputs are those things that you put in during the production process, right? So that you can convert those inputs into what? Into output. You're following, right? The common examples of the inputs that we have labor, you have capital, you have raw material, what else? Like all those things that you have to put together so that you can produce something. We call them the input. You're following, right? Then what you produce after that process is called the output. Are you able to follow now? Then there is a function that is there to draw the relationship or the depiction of the relationship between what you put in and what you receive is called the production function. Is that fair now? I'm sure I've gotten this one. And those who are online, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, it's fine then. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's what the production function is all about. We're just trying to study the production process, the entire production process. That's what we're trying to do. So number one, for the purposes of your exam, because I am not saying everything, I'm just focusing on some key areas. That's why I was saying the conversation is like this one. You most of the time from the past papers that I've reviewed so far, you are given a schedule for output. You're getting, this is a schedule for output. Then you are given the schedule for what? For labor, okay? A schedule for labor. There is this schedule for labor. This is the labor that is required to produce that amount of output. You're also given the schedule for capital. Then most of the times you are asked to come up with another schedule, the schedule for marginal product of labor, marginal product of capital, average product of labor, and the average product of capital. That's that. You get that, right? Most of the time, I've seen that. So that's why I'm trying to restructure the questions. I'm restructuring the questions according to the importance, looking at the time that we have remained. So now, my question of the day is, we know what labor is, and we already know what the capital is. But what is the marginal product of labor? Okay, by definition, you will not be asked to define what it is. Marginal product of labor, basically, this is an additional, okay, an additional contribution of 1 unit of labor to output. Did you get that? I'm saying that an additional contribution of labor of 1 unit of labor to what? To output. So the additional contribution is what is called the marginal product of labor. Did you get that? But the general contribution of labor is called the product of labor. Did you get that? Product of labor is just basically the general contribution of labor to output, right? When you produce whatever you're producing in practical terms, let's say, okay, let's choose, what thing are you producing? Anything. Just give me, sorry? Sofas, yeah, like in other words, what do you call them? They're just sofas. Oh, chairs. Let's say you're producing chairs. When you're producing chairs, there are a lot of things that you need. You need labor, the people that should work. You also need what else do you need? You need the raw material. You need the furniture. You need furniture. You need the machinery. Okay. You have a lot of inputs that you need to put in. You're following that, right? Then ultimately, you have the finished product as chair. You're following that, right? You have a finished product as chair. But we need to examine now to that chair, to that output. What is the contribution of this particular input, to be specific for labor now? What is the contribution of labor? Okay, the contribution of labor to this finished good is called what? Product of labor. But the additional, follow this one, right? You were producing these, you are producing maybe 1 chair using 1 person. You cannot see the consistent. No. Okay. So I was saying, using 5 people, using 5 people, you are just using 5 people, right? Then you are producing maybe 20 chairs using 5 people. Then now you decided to employ 2 more people. When you employ 2 more people, then you find that the number of chairs has increased maybe to somewhere, let's say 26. You get that, right? The number of chairs has increased to 26. So there is an increase in the total output because of the increase in the unit of input, which is labor now. This time around, we're talking about labor. Because of increased labor, even output has increased. So now that additional, this difference from 26 to 20, from 20 to 26, this difference, which is the 6, right? The difference of 6. It is what is called the marginal product of labor. That additional, that increment, that increase in output because of the increase in that particular unit of input. Okay. So we call that the marginal product of labor. Similarly, when you flip the page to capital, it applies the same. When you add the capital, Once you add capital, then there is some increase in some what? In some output. So you find that that increase in output is what is called the marginal product of what? Of capital. Basically, it is the contribution of capital to what? To outcome. You got it? Okay. So about average, I'm just defining them first before we can start solving, so that when you are solving, you are appreciating, you know what you're doing. When you talk about average product of labor, this is just simply output divided by what? By labor, isn't it? Is it output divided by labor? Is it output divided by labor or labor divided by output?
It's labor divided by output.
Is labor divided by what? Labor divided by output? You guys had talked about these things already, so I'm just finding out. Is it labor divided by output or output divided by labor?
It's labor divided by output.
Labor divided by output. Now, in practical terms of what average product is, it simply means that we want to, when we are finding average products now, we're trying to examine like each unit of labor, how much has it contributed to the total output? You get it, right? Like you're not examining the units now as a whole. You're looking at the units like one by one, okay? You have got 20 people, 20 people. Then you have produced, let's say you have produced 5 units, right? You got to divide this into that. Then what you get is the depiction of what each individual has. Remember, there is the addition that is marginal, but now not the additional increase, but the contribution of one person. For example, you have, we'll do the question. You have, how many people do you have? Let's say you book 20 people as usual to do some work. Okay, they are able to make, maybe let's say they have made about 500,000. That's what you've gotten from their work. Okay, then you want to get to examine on average how much each person has contributed, isn't it? Then you have to find whatever you get now. It's like that's the contribution of one week. Like one week has contributed that to that particular output. Did you get that? On the marginal product, we said it's additional. Like the additional. Once you increase the output, even by like once you increase the input, then output does what? Increase. Not that difference in the increase is what we call the marginal. All right, let's get to calculate. Let's get to solve the question. So how do you solve now? How do you fill in this table? It's easy. For marginal product, you just say for marginal product of labor, you say labor 2 minus what? Labor 1 over output 2 minus output 1. Did you get that? That's basically a change, like a change in output, like these changes. So let's say labor has changed from what? How has labor changed? From this, the second one is what? 95 minus the previous one. So the first one for the marginals, listen, the first one is equal at the first unit, like it's just like that's for utility, marginal utility and total utility. You get it, right? the first unit is always equal. So this labor that we have, like at the first unit, is the same one that we have here. That's the marginal. It's always equal, like total utility, just like, look at it like how you're looking at utility, right? Marginal utility is always equal to total utility at first unit. So the first unit here, marginal product of labor is equal to the total product of labor, like total product of labor. Yes, 110. Oh, not 100, 110. Then you start now. The differences, you say this figure here minus that one. You get that? Like this figure here minus that one. Then you divide by, so it will be 90 what? 92 minus 110. Oh, 95 minus 110 divided by output is 2 minus 1. Which should be negative what? Negative what? Negative 15. So we just record what? Negative 15 like that. You get that? So I will do more questions. I just want you to get the general scope of what to do when you're, how you solve the question. Yeah, the question might not be the actual question, but you need the idea first. Then when it comes to the third one, the third unit, you still get to say 80 minus 95 divided by this minus that. You know that the difference here between 3 and it's just 1. So say 80 minus 95, this is what? 5, right? Oh, negative 5. Negative 10?
15.
Oh, 15, okay. It's negative 15 too. All right, negative 15. Then you say 75 minus 80 again. Oh, now this one is negative. Then 82 minus 75 is 7, positive 7. Then 85 minus is a positive what? Positive 3. Are we able to follow? It's positive 3. Then we say 90 minus 85 is what? Is 5. Then 100 minus 90 is it is 10. Then 10 minus 110 minus 100 is 10 as well, right? Then 120 minus 110 is still what? It's still 10. I wanted to just get it. So even if they put it horizontal like that, okay, these things are related. If you understood the utility theory, it's still the same, like more like just the same thing. You got it, right? Any question online? And be talking and talking here. But are you able to see?
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, just want to find out when you find, for example, the number is giving negative there, is there any meaning to it or just a normal number?
Okay, in the meantime, treat it as a normal number until the next example that I'm giving you. I know that I've manipulated the question because I wanted to deliver what I wanted you to get.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Marginal product of capital is the same thing now, but you're dealing with it with capital, isn't it? Same thing. So sometimes, most of the times in an exam, they won't give you all these, like a lot of them. They can just give you maybe for labor, then they ask you to find marginal product of labor and the average product of labor. You get it, right? Or maybe capital, then they want you marginal product of capital. You know those things, right? So let's find the marginal product of capital. It starts with 300. Negative what? Negative 50. Like 250 minus 300 is negative 50. 210 minus 250. Negative what? Negative 40. Then 180 minus 210. Negative 30. I said, then 150 minus 180 is still negative 30, isn't it? Negative 30 again. Then what is the 120 minus 150? Still negative what? Negative 20. 90 minus minus 100 is negative 10. 80 minus 90 is negative 10. And the 70 minus the 80 is still negative what? It's still negative 10. Don't worry about the negative. In the meantime, what you just have to do is just to know how to do it, okay? Like what it means. So that's how you get to the marginals, right? Once they ask you, can you fill in make the schedules for marginal products of capital, marginal products of labor, then you're fine. This is how you come up with the schedule. Did you get that? We can move to average. For average now. How do you get the average? Obviously, we say this labor divided by what? By output, isn't it? Did we say that? Yes, we said that.
Yes.
What's our labor for number one? Our labor is 110. 110 divided by 1, the output is 1. So 110 divided by 1 is what? It's 110. So we start with 110. Then what's the next thing? 95. 95 divided by the output is 2. 95 divided by 2. What do you get? 47.5. Then you go to the next one, the third one. 80, right? 80 divided by 3. You're following that, right? By the output. So it's labor divided by what? By your output. Labor divided by output. So we say 80 divided by 3 is what? 26, let's say 0.7. Then what is 75 divided by 4? Sorry? 18.75. Let's say 18.8, rounding off to one decimal place. The next one is what? 82, right? 82 divided by 5. 16.4. The next one is what? 85 by 6. 85 divided by 6. 14.166. 166. Okay, 0.2, right? 14.2. Then what's the next one? Is 90, isn't it? 90 divided by 7. So we are dividing like labor divided by the output. What do we get? 90 divided by 7? 12.85, which is 4.9. Then 100 divided by 8? Divided by 8? 12.5. Then 110 divided by 9? 12.3. Then 120 divided by 10. Oh yeah, this one is 12. It's 12. Are we fine with how we find the average product of labor? In class, are we fine? Okay. Those who are online, are you fine on how you find these schedules? This is very critical. It's very important. Like those are the most important parts that you have to expect all the time. Yeah. Hello, madam. To add one, yeah. Hello, online. Are we together? Those who are online, or someone has a question? How many people are online?
It's clear on my end.
All right.
I'm getting you on my side.
Okay. Let's go to APK, which is average product of what? Capital. This one is basically capital. Just get the formulas, right? That's what is more important. Capital divided by what? By output. This should be equal to average product of what? Of capital K. Okay? Average product of capital. Capital divided by output. Right? Did you get that? This one is average product of labor divided by output. For marginals, you're fine. For average, you're fine. So how do you find the total output for APK, like average product of capital? How do you find average product of capital? We divide capital by output. So the first one is 300 divided by 1, giving us 300. The next one is 250 divided by 2, 125. The next one is the 3 divided by 210. It's 70. Then the next one is the 180 divided by 4. It's 45. Then the next one is the 150 divided by 5. It's 30. Then the next one is the 120 divided by 6. It's the 20. Then 100 divided by what? By 7. 14.3. Then you have 90 divided by 8. 11.3. Then what's the next one? 8 divided by 9. 8.9. Then the last one is the 70 divided by 10, which gives us what? 7. So my question is, are we fine with how we find these things? They are just related, it's the same thing. Divided by, yes, labor 2 minus labor 1 divided by output 2 minus output 1. Labor 2 minus labor 1, yes. Marginal product of capital. Like you're just subtracting this higher one, this higher labor minus the previous one. The same way how you're feeling in the, yeah. So basically that's what it is. Okay, is that clear? Online? Then,
yes.
If they have gotten this, then it's fine. Let's go and do that question. We can now, we are good to go. We can do this question. I want us to do this question. Question number 3. We cannot manage to do it. Yeah, we are trying to do those questions we had in that previous assignment. That was not previous assignment, we did those. There is an assignment that I've sent you. Yeah. So the question that we are doing now, I'm unable to copy it, but if the question reads, that same assignment, like I've sent you about 3 questions, like 3 question papers, 3 of them during the afternoon. Now that first one, it was labeled assignment. Question number 3, it reads that a firm faces the following linear inverse demand for its product. So this is the inverse demand. Price is equal to 60 minus 2Q. Okay. Then question number 1 says, can you find, what are you finding? Total what? Total revenue function. Total revenue function. Total revenue function. Find the expression for the firm's marginal revenue. Can you find the marginal revenue? Marginal revenue. Yeah, this is what I wanted now. Marginal revenue, so that you don't just get used to numbers. At least when you're given equations, you should be able to play with them. Can you assume that the marginal cost of production is given by 8? What will be the equilibrium output and price. Okay, they are saying that, assuming that when you assume that marginal cost is equal to what? To 8, then what will be the equilibrium? So we want the equilibrium. What will be the equilibrium output? Output and the price, right? The equilibrium output and the price. That's all the questions that we have. Let's go. This question is leading me to comment on something else again, a little bit different from what we had. So we can move. Actually, these questions are just helping me on what to choose. What I'm saying is more than what is just required here. So you should follow. Yeah, it's more than what is required because I'm teaching now. So this one is called an inverse demand function, right? It's an inverse demand function, the inverse demand. Now, what does it tell us when we say inverse demand? This is very important. You need this. What do you understand by inverse demand? We know, and we are told that we have been seeing most of the time that the quantity demanded function, remember that one? It always starts with quantity. Quantity is equal to a given number, maybe 120 here plus 30p. That's how it used to be. Then quantity what? This as quantity demanded, right? Then quantity supplied, you're also given the quantity supplied from the previous example. That's what we are doing. So what I'm trying to say is that all the time, the normal way of writing the demand function is to start with what? With quantity, and express the expression in terms of P, price. I'll repeat that because it is necessary. The normal demand function, it always starts with what? Q. The quantity is the subject of the formula for the normal one. Did you get that right? But when they say the inverse demand function, inverse demand function simply means that you make what? You make P the subject of the formula. That is to invert the demand function. Did you get that? I'll repeat. I'm saying that the normal demand function, quantity is the subject of the formula, isn't it? But when you have the inverse demand function, price is the subject of the what? Of the formula. Did you get that? Yeah. So now, why should we have the inverse demand? It is because we need to find the revenue. The question is asking us to find the total revenue. How do we find total revenue? This is what you should get now, and take this as a take-home message. Total revenue, this is the formula. Total revenue is equal to what? To price times the quantity. Okay? Price times what? Quantity, or price times the output, if you want. Did you get that? This is the formula for finding total what? Total revenue. If you understand this, even for cost theory will be easy. Follow these things are just related to what we are talking about always. So that's how you find the revenue. Okay, I don't want to go into accounting.
Excuse me, sir. The board is not clear.
The board is not clear.
I can't see.
Can you try to? Like you can't see total revenue is price and quantity. You can't see. Are you able to see now?
Oh, it's a bit tricky. I can't see.
Oh, I'm sure it's maybe it could be just the network from that end. What about others? You can't see, so that we help you before it's too late.
So some of the words can be seen, but I don't know what's happening. It's becoming blur. Then all of a sudden it becomes fine.
Oh, okay. Also, it like sometimes very clear, sometimes it goes dim. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think that problem is on the issue of the network. We'll try to work around that next time. That is to say, we will start using get the code so that we should be using the Wi-Fi.
Sir, are you able to go back to the formula? Because I can't see.
Okay, madam. So the formula is the total revenue. Let me say TR is total revenue, right? Is equal to price times the quantity or output. Can you see this one, or you can't see it still?
I can see.
Oh, okay. That's fine then. So total revenue is given as the price multiplied by, there's a class. Okay, so total revenue is equal to what? Price times quantity. Yeah. So this formula is very, very necessary. You need it. Okay. You need it. So since we have said that the total what? The total revenue, because the question is asking us to find the function for total revenue, isn't it? Question number one, we want us to find the total revenue function, given the demand what? The inverse demand function. And we know that the total revenue function is price times what? Times quantity. So therefore, since we already have our P, what is our price? Our price is the 60 minus 2Q, right? We multiply this by Q, by quantity, by Q, right? Just multiply that by Q. When we multiply throughout, like when you FOIL Q, isn't it? What will go this? It will be 60 what? 60Q minus 2Q what? Squared. This will be the total revenue function. Are you able to see this? So in short, you just get that price that you have been given, multiply by what? By quantity. Since we say the revenue is what? Price times quantity. Then we have the function, the total revenue function. Are we able to get that from online?
Yes, following.
Hello? Oh, okay. It's fine then. Now that we have found the total revenue, we have done what is required of us. So sometimes what I'm trying to say now is this: you can be given an equation, like a demand function. Then you are asked to find what is total revenue. So the thing is, if your demand function that you're given is not inverted, meaning it's a normal one like this one, you have to invert it first. Okay? You have to invert it. To invert it simply means you change it, you make P the subject of the what? Of the formula. That's why I was trying to compare. $120. Yeah. So what it means is that you have to make P the subject of what? Of the formula. So for example, you have this one. Let's say you have quantity equal to what? 120 plus 30P. This is an assumption, assuming you have this demand function. So how do we make P the subject of the formula, or make the inverse demand function? You make P the subject of the formula. How do you do it? It will be Q minus what? 120 equal to 30 what? 30P, right? And then we divide it through by 30, divide it through by 30. 30 and 30 goes. You know that this 30 is for this one and for that one, right? Maybe I should rewrite it like this. Over 30 here, over 30 here. We know that there is invisible one here, isn't it? There is invisible one here. So if you want to, the easiest way of doing it is to make decimals. So you can say 1 divided by this 30. Like this 1 here, which is here, divided by this 30. What do you get? 0. What? 0.03. 0.033. Okay, let's just leave it to decimal places. 0.03 Q, right? Minus, what is that into 120? 4 times, right? It goes 4 times is equal to what? To P. So this is our inverse demand function. P is equal to what? 0. Are you going to see this? Like P is equal to 0.03 Q minus 4. Like that. So this is called our inverse. It's our inverse demand function. Have you seen that now? This one is our inverse demand function. We have inverted that one. I've made P the subject of the formula. Then we can progress from here, get to this P function multiplied by quantity, isn't it? This P function, this one, just multiply it by Q like this one. Then you expand and you get the total revenue function. Did you get that one? Let's see, what's the question? This one was an assumption, just trying to show you how to invest. In case they can give you a normal demand function, not the inverted one. This one, they have already done the work for you. This one is the inverse demand. This one is normal, but we have inverted it to make it like this. This one is starting with Q, but this one is starting with P. To invert the demand function simply means make it start with P. Always you have to start with P because the total revenue function is the price times quantity. Did you get that? Are we together online? And here physically we are together. Not knowing that fine. Hello? Hello.
Following.
Can we find the expression for the marginal revenue? Okay, now we want the marginal revenue. Now listen attentively. Marginal revenue, the same way how you treat the total utility and the marginal utility. These are just almost the same thing. Okay, so marginal revenue will be given as what? Will be given as total utility 2, total revenue 2 minus the total revenue 1 all over output 2 minus the output 1. This is for mathematics, like normal mathematics or arithmetic. But from algebra, we can rely this marginal revenue, MR, should be equal to what? The change in what? In total revenue, TR, over the change in what? In output, isn't it? So now, what you can do from calculus, you can invert this. Like you can express this as calculus, okay? Which is what? The what? The TR over the what? The Q. Meaning the change in total revenue, that is as a result of the change in output. Did you get that? That's how you interpret this. This is calculus, right? Just the same way how you say dy over dx, right? Dy over dx is simply means the change in y because of the change in x. So this one is read as the change in the total revenue because of the change in output. You get that, right? As a company, you have decided to increase output. Let's say you are just producing the shares, 20 shares. Then you have decided to increase the shares, right? Listen, you have decided to increase the shares. You say, we want to be producing at least 30 shares. You're following, right? You have increased the number of shares from 22 to 30, right? Then since when you are producing 30, maybe you are making the profit of, let's say, 200,000, isn't it? It's just an assumption. You are making 200,000 by producing only 20 shares. What about when you go to 30? You get that? Obviously, the revenue do what? We increase from what? From what? From 200,000. So when you're examining now that change in revenue, because of the change in what? In the output, that is what is called the marginal revenue. Just like the one which we had was called total product, marginal product of labor. Yeah, the change in the output because of the change in labor. You know those things. Yeah. Did you get that? Yeah, I have gotten that. Was just a simple explanation. So we use calculus for this one. The change in the total revenue function. In short, we are differentiating the total revenue function with respect to what? To output Q. And I already sent you the power rule things. You now know calculus, like you are so powerful in some calculus. And the total revenue is equal to what? 6 to what? I should erase this so that you see here. I should erase this so that you see here. So you are basically differentiating the total revenue function. And our total revenue function is ABC, 6 the what? 6 the Q minus 2 what? Q squared, isn't it? So when we differentiate this, we are finding what is called the PR over the what? The Q. And what do this now? It is 60, right? 60 minus 4Q, isn't it? From differential calculus, like power rule, we said if you're differentiating this number, I start teaching power rule now. Okay, I said that during the time of power rule, or during that, I sent that video, I separated it. We said that when you're differentiating like this number here, whose variable this one is raised to degree 1, you just get the coefficient. That's what we said. And then for this one, you drop the power, multiply by the coefficient, and then you subtract 1 from this one, isn't it? So 2 times that, 4, right? Then 2 minus 1. There's that video. Did you find it? You did it. Okay, don't worry about it. It is called differential calculus, power rule. Applies in economics. Money. In short, this is just a concept. You need to differentiate the function. So it is not really only that it's not really always that you have to be using power rule. You get, right? It's not always that you have to be using power rule. It just depends on the nature of the equation that you're differentiating. As I showed you, some equations will require you to use the product rule, but not at this level. Usually microeconomics at first year, it's kept basic. Yeah, so they are easy. It's power rule. Like that's the easiest. But as you go higher, when you do intermediate, there's what you call intermediate micro. At intermediate micro, you do more of math. Now that's where you'll be doing those ones. Product rule, portion rule, a little bit complicated, a bit, not really very difficult. You do those things. And as you do, there's also advanced micro. You can still go up and do advanced micro. Yeah, it's short. So those who are measuring in economics, they do that in third year. That's when you do advanced micro economics. Yeah. Did you get this one? So don't worry about this thing, just to differentiate the equation in short. Same applies to total utility. If you're given the equation like this, total utility equation is this, can you find the marginal utility? You just differentiate the total utility. Fine. And you're done. What's that? Marginal product of labor. If you're given the total product of labor, the equation, you want to find marginal product of labor. You just differentiate the equation. As long as you find the marginal. You're given the total cost function, right? You want to find marginal cost. Just differentiate the total cost function with respect to output Q.
Sorry for this question, but I want to find out what time the class is ending.
Oh.
I'm supposed to have a program.
Oh, all right. It's ending at 20 hours. This is 19. Yes, you can contact him, Mr. Job. He knows. Yeah. All right. So, any questions? Let's see. Any questions? You're fine now? Yeah. Those who are online, are you okay? Are you fine?
Yes.
We are talking about the production and the company now. That's what we're trying to do. Okay. Assuming, let's make another assumption. I'm increasing the questions, okay? I'm increasing the number of questions just to make sure that you get to expose to something. Now, we need to do this. Okay. Assuming that the marginal cost of production is given as what? As 8, isn't it? What will be the equilibrium output and the equilibrium price? Listen now. Okay. Listen. Marginal cost is equal to 8. That's what we're given. Then the marginal revenue is equal to what? What is our marginal revenue? Yes, the one we found. I want those who are online to tell me, what's our marginal revenue?
60 minus 4Q.
Or 60 minus what? 4Q. That is our marginal revenue. So now listen. For us to find the equilibrium output, listen to this point. For us to find the equilibrium output and the price, at equilibrium, okay, at equilibrium, when the market is clear, marginal cost is equal to what? Marginal revenue. Did you get that? And what? It's a point, that one to notice. You need to write that one. At equilibrium, marginal cost is equal to what? Marginal revenue is equal. They are equal at equilibrium. That is to say, the cost is now equal to the what? To the revenue. Just those margins. Yes, at equilibrium, marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. Marginal revenue. Marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. So how do you do it? Marginal cost is 8 equal to 60 minus 4Q. Then this is basic algebra. What do you do from here? We solve for Q, right? We solve for what? For Q. We solve for Q. So we can have 4Q equal to 60 minus 8, right? And what is 60 minus 8? 62, right? Is it? No, 60 minus 8. What is 52? Oh, 52, yeah. 52 4Q. We divide it through by what? By 4. So that our Q can be equal to what? 13 times, isn't it? 13. So in short, this is the equilibrium what? Output. Did you get that? That is the equilibrium output, like it is called the equilibrium output. That's the output at equilibrium. Did you get that one? So it's not really difficult. You just need to know this point, that at equilibrium. That's the point. Then you can easily move. Any question from online? Do I have any question? Anyone with a question here?
Clear.
Assuming that everyone is okay with what we are doing, then we can proceed. So the progress means that I want to add another question. It's not here. Oh, we have found just equilibrium what? Oh, we have just found equilibrium quantity. We didn't find the equilibrium price. We also need the equilibrium price, but we know the price function, isn't it? We go back to the inverse demand function where we find the price, and where there is a Q, you replace by putting what? The equilibrium quantity. Did you get that? Yes. Our price function is this one, the inverse demand function. So price is a function of this. And where there is Q, you replace by putting what? The equilibrium quantity or the equilibrium output, which is 13. So you say 2 times 13. What is the equilibrium price? 60 minus 26. What is 60 minus 26 as the equilibrium price?
34.
34, right? Okay. So that is your equilibrium what? Price. You don't even stress it. You don't need to. Any question? Ma? Yes. Not big. This is not big. This is the University of Zambia. Any question from anyone? Everyone is okay, right? Those from online, do I have any question? Any, your people, are they fine? Someone has commented. Okay. She's at work. Yeah. The boss is high. I don't know. I don't want to talk about people. How many people are in your class online? Okay. Yeah. Obvious. Okay, now listen. Because of the recording, it's only that the recordings are helping people somehow. Especially those who miss class. Okay. I have decided to add the question so that I deliver something that I want to. The concept of profit. We have not talked about profit. Just talk about cost, revenue. There is no profit. Okay. Assume that cost, that is total cost, is fixed at 50. Calculate for what? For profit. Calculate for what? Number 1, for profit. Number 2, for marginal profit. Do you know that you can also have marginal profit? Have you heard of the concept of marginal in economy, sir? It's like a lot, like you just find it from second, marginal, almost every topic you have marginal. Because economics deals with the concept of optimization. You're trying to optimize. So therefore, it's important to have a brief understanding of what marginals are. the cost is fixed. Yes, for everything. Let's say cost has been fixed there. Now, the reason why I've added here, I just want to comment on profit because there's no question on profit here. So we want you to get. So now listen, when it comes to the issues of the profit, how do we find profit? What is the formula for profit? There is a formula for profit. This is production that you want. Hey, oh, you're an accountant. No, not that one, because economists are not accountants. Okay, so profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost, right? That's how it is here. So what is our total revenue? We know the total revenue, isn't it? What is the total revenue? Total revenue minus cost. We know the total revenue function. We found it. It's just Q minus what? 2Q squared minus what? Minus the cost. The total cost is 50, isn't it? Minus 50. Minus 50. And can you do further simplification from here? You can't, right? This is your profit function. So in short, what I want you to get is that profit is total revenue minus cost. That's what I want to do here. Just that. You didn't get it. You got it. Then what about marginal profit now? Marginal what? Marginal profit. How do you find marginal profit? How do you find marginal profit? Marginal profit is found by doing the following. It's just differentiating the what? The profit function. Okay, once I said marginal, is just differentiation, right? So the marginal profit, the marginal what? The marginal profit will be equal to the derivative of the what? Of the profit function. So therefore, it will be given as the what? The profit. That means you are differentiating the profit, eh? The Q, right? Differentiate the profit with respect to what? To quantity. So what do we get? We get 60 minus 4Q, like that, right? Did you get that? This is your marginal what? Your marginal what? Marginal profit. Now, what you should be interested in examining is where has this gone? This is a constant. You know how you differentiate. When you differentiate the constant, it becomes zero. By the way, economics, like real economics, like if you measure real economics, like as we did, there are lots of numbers. You do matrix, mathematics, calculus, statistics, probability. Like it's just more of calculation from first year up to graduate. Yeah. But it is interesting. You love numbers. People that love numbers like you. You don't love numbers. Okay. Any question from online? Okay.
It's clear on my side.
It's clear from his side. Me, from my thinking, I think at least you have now a great understanding of, at least you have an overview of what is there, right? Yeah. Don't panic. These things that I've told you, those are the most important things. That's what I want to say. I'm telling you the truth. Like these are the most important things. These are the key things that one is expected to know all the time. Yeah. So now, here's the thing now about this one. I just want to comment on the difference between the short run period and the long run period. It's a very simple question, but I also need to pass a comment so that they can be peace in the land. This is the original, right? Okay, about the short run, the difference between the short run. Okay, did you do costing? Because this is cost theory. I just saw product theory from your assignment. Did you do cost theory, like, or is it? Are you expected of studying cost theory?
I think she talked about that, but in the short time, the cost comes and then
you did marginal cost, average fixed cost, those things, average total cost. I'm asking from class. Even
yes,
online,
we were run through when we were doing residentials.
So you were run through. So I'm not just sure if it will be part of your test, because what was written, that one, you gave me that it will be production function, right? Production theory is different from cost theory. They are different. Right? It's not one thing. It's not combined. So it was not specifying, unless it was just like FEM theory, then we know that FEM theory comprises of both the production theory and the cost theory. Production theory. Okay, as we are still waiting to confirm, we can do this. There are some questions here. I will be reading them there. Just those same questions that I sent you. I'm still going to add some more questions. We still have some good time before time up. At least so that we learn something. I just want you to, yeah. One of the questions that we have is this. Okay, I've already defined what a production function. Distinguish between a short run. Hello, sir.
Hello? Yes, I think those are supposed to come in the third test. Because there will be a first test.
Come in the third test.
Yes, which we are supposed to agree with the madam when it will be, when we are going to write.
Oh. Okay. Can't in the meantime, let me stick to production, demand and supply, and those what is there. It's fine, can't. But if there is a need to, you can just signal to me. Then we can call for a class. Then we can give you that, right? The question that we have says, distinguish between a short run production and long run production function. What is the difference between the short run and the long run? I just wanted to comment on that one. You need the difference. What is the difference between short run and long run? Anyone? You can start from online. People from online have been so quiet. Madam. It is the relationship, or it's the function that draws the relationship between inputs and outputs. Just that. The function drawing the relationship between inputs and outputs is called the production function. The function drawing the relationship, or that depicts the relationship between output and what? And input. That function is called the production function. Now, what is the difference between short run and long run period? Anyone? Let's start from online. Anyone?
In the short run, at least one variable is fixed.
Okay.
Yes, then in the long run, all variables can be adjusted.
All right. So he's saying in the short run, at least one variable, at least one is fixed. Whereas in the long run, all the variables are what? Adjust or change. And that is the difference. So in the long run, in the short run is not the time like maybe the short run period, maybe it's 2 weeks, 1 week. No, the short run period can take time. It can even take years or it can take days. It depends, right? You're getting that? So the short run period is a period where at least what? At least one variable is what? Is fixed. At least one variable is what? Is fixed. Then in long run, all variables what? Are variable, are varying. All variables are changing. All variables are what? Are changing in the long run. All variables are changing in the what? In the long run. What does this mean? Maybe I should give a practical example. People understand well when you deal with the practical examples. Umfenman. Nyanja Achonga na Sizungu na Vonsi Mkati. What we are saying is the practical example is the one that people don't easily forget. I have gotten that experience from teaching. So you have, let's say you have, you start a business. You start a business. What business? Just any business. What business? Makeup what? Makeup business. Let's makeup business. We have started a makeup business here from G7. We have a makeup business. Now in the makeup business, we need rentals, of course, isn't it? We're doing it in a certain shop. So we need a shop. Number one, you're getting it? When you have just started, we need the one shop, right? Is it a shop or whatever it is? One, when you have just started. But you see that as your business is growing, you're following that, right? As the business is growing, you'll be ordering more things, until you reach at the point where you say, we need to employ some more people, meaning you are increasing now. Labor has adjusted. Maybe you're working just 2 of you. Now you're increasing people. You see, right? That's a variable. Labor has increased. And again, you say, no. Since we have enough capital now, we can even have another shop in town. You're following that, right? You go, you open another one. You get that, right? Again, no, we can also have it one at East Park. We can have one at PHI, at Woodlands Mall. You get it, right? You're planting now a shop. Now, listen, the difference between short run and long run. The period when you still have only one shop, because the shop is capital, that's rent. When you still have only one shop, meaning your capital is fixed, right? That period is called the short run. You can start adjusting maybe labor. You can adjust labor. You increase labor, you do whatever you're doing. As long as you are still using only one shop, it is still a short run. But the moment you adjust both labor and the capital, because the rent is capital, like those buildings, capital. Once you start now, you increase both the shop, that's the capital, and the labor, meaning all the variables have adjusted. The moment you just change from one shop to another shop, like from more shop to 2 going up, then that becomes your long run period. Did you get that one now? I think you should be able to get this one. You got that one. You know it already. Did you get it? Those from online, did you get our example? I have some questions again I want us to do. Don't be tired, please. They'll be recording the rest from home, but due to time, let me give you again another set of questions.
Can you repeat starting from where you were saying, hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yeah. Can you repeat where you were saying from when you're having one shop? That means it's during that time it's a short run. Then I didn't get to what you said going forward.
All right. I said that when you're just still having only one shop, that period is called the short run period. Okay, it is called the short run period. But the moment you adjust the number of shops that now have more than what? You have more than one shop, that becomes what? A long run period. As long as you can adjust, if you can just adjust the number of what? I'll say the fixed, for example, capital. If you increase the number of shops, that's your capital. If you can increase capital, then that's a long run period. But short run is when if you have only one capital, like for example, only one shop, the number of shops are still fixed at 1. Did you get that?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. That is part of the break, but I'm looking for the question that I want us to look at. I have 2 main questions, but you know what you just need is the idea. You need the idea. Let me just first comment for the paper or on the issue of past papers. Past papers are good, but you have to use them with caution. Right? You have to be guided on how to use past papers. Why should you be guided? It's because most of the time that not some people repeat it in those courses. Like they keep sending. You get the lecturers, they keep sending the lecture. These lecturers are first time. You get like they can lecture, then next year they give another one to lecture. You get it, right? So obviously, if they give another one, that another one cannot use the friend's question. Only he has his own question. You get that? So sometimes why you are start memorizing the past paper questions is because they should just help you to get the idea. Because obviously the lecturer will not start repeating the friend's question. He has his own question. But if you find that that same lecturer is the one who has been lecturing, maybe he was the same one lecturing that course last year at the same place, then the past paper is now helpful to you because most of the time they are most likely to repeat those words. Those questions will repeat some concepts. I'm sure you got that one. You should be able to get that one. Yes. So that's what is there. But yeah. We can just do this one as just the way of mentioning the idea. Yes. So I'm not saying don't stop past papers, but just know that that's what it is. You find that some past papers maybe they seem so hard and complicated. It just depends on how that lecturer taught those people. You get it, huh? Because when a lecturer comes to start teaching, he has got his own. Maybe you focus on. There are some lecturers who can just lecture maybe only three topics and give an exam from them. Or maybe they taught to the real depth of that thing, like they taught to the real depth. You get it, right? So what will happen is that when you look at those questions, they seem to be very difficult and very complicated. But when your paper comes, the lecturer will say it according to how they taught and what they say. You get it, huh? So that's how we use the past papers. Otherwise, they are good. Yeah, they are good, but that's how they are used. We have another question from, this was 2020 now. This was 2020. The one we are doing, that was 2022. Let's do 2020. We have another question under the same production theme. If I was able to beam this question, things would have been fine, but it is fine. It is well our endeavor. We have output, the number of workers. This is labor, okay? Let's say this is labor. This is total product, so that you understand what is total product. We have talked much about marginal. Total product, average product, average what is product of labor, and what comes after average product of labor? We have marginal what is marginal product of labor. Marginal product of labor. Marginal product of labor. Marginal product of labor, like this one. There is no, depending on the question, we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is our question that we have. Like the total product is what? 10, 25, 45, 55, 60, 65, 63, 58. This is what we are given one hour move. As I said, it came in this was 2020 now. The one that we are doing, that was 2022. But so let's do this one. What was the question saying? Using the numbers above, draw the total curve and explain it to stages. That's a lot of work. Okay, let's start from completing the table. Don't worry about stages of production. Just fine. Complete the table by filling in the figures for average product and for marginal product. You know this one? You can do it, isn't it? Let's start with average. What did we say? Average product of labor. Now this is the total product. So you're given the total what? The total product. You get it, right? So basically it will be total product divided by what? By your labor. So what do you get? You have 10, right? So now these concepts is just have to repeat them. 2 divided by 25, 12.5, 3 by 45 is 16, 4 into 55 is what? 13.8, 5 into 6 is 12, 6 into 65, 10.8, 7 into 63, 9, and the 8 into 58, 7.3, right? Marginal product of labor now. Okay, like what you have to follow is just the way how we follow the data that you have been given. Yeah, follow the data. That's why we're trying to do as many questions as possible. So you don't just memorize one thing. Yeah. Marginal product of labor. How do you get it now? Divided by? Okay, so these are the numbers of labor, like more like the output. It's more like the output. Yes. So you have, what do you do? Yes. So the first one is 10. 15 divided by 1. 20. 45 minus 25 is what? 20, isn't it? 55 minus 45? 10. 60 minus 65? 5, 15. And the 65 minus 60 is 5 again. 63 minus 2 is what? 63 minus 65 is negative 2. And 58 minus 65 is negative what? Negative 5. Okay, that's the same way how we say the marginal product move. Just like marginal utility. You remember? It is rising positive, then it drops attitude to the negative. You get, right? It starts from down, starts rising, then it starts what? Falling until the negative. You get it, right? So basically, okay, like these things, you already know. Are we okay? If I have not commented on it, you don't need in the meantime. People are not asking questions, or even here you can see ask questions. And you've gotten this one. This one is basically more like the repetition of what we had. I have got some questions from this one that I want you to do. Just more like the where is this paper? Here, page number 246. On the graph, how much time has been? Okay, I'm commenting very soon. Don't get tired, well. Don't get tired. Don't just get tired. This question is
fast. You know, sir, it's just that the screen is not very clear.
The screen is not clear. Not clear.
I suppose the camera is a little bit far from the board.
Oh, okay. Ask our camera. People are saying it's not clear. 248, I think. There have been 248. Oh, madam. Oh, okay, it's fine. We'll send the recording to you. There is a question that I want you to do, just trying to revise on those. How is it now?
I think when you tilted the projector, the numbers were coming okay. Just tilt it again.
Oh, on the projector?
Are you not using the projector?
Oh, okay. You are not seeing what is at the board?
No.
Okay, no, she will work on that. She's working on it. Question that I want us to do. I really wanted us to do this question. I want us.
Oh, yeah.
You are able to see something?
There is a position where it's coming clear, but it's somehow blurred. Okay, there it's fine. There it's fine. Again, it has.
It's fine there. It is fine.
No, it's gone back.
I think it's just the network. I'm sure it should be just the network. The issue of the network.
Okay.
It should be just the issue of the network. Otherwise,
okay, there it's clear now. Oh,
it will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. It will be fine. It will be fine. I'm sure on the recording will be clearer than It will be clearer than that. Very much so. I want us to pass some comments the following now. Before we can go, at least I pass some comments on this, then are you able to see? Here they should be able to see. Okay. Yeah, I have sent this. Yes. You there in the group. Can we define, can we distinguish between micro and macroeconomics? What's the difference between micro and macroeconomics? Anyone, a quick one, even from online, you can still say, we move fast now. Difference between micro and macroeconomics? No?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, micro, I think it deals with individual businesses and just individuals. And then macro deals with maybe country as a whole.
Okay, so microeconomics deals with the individual businesses, right? The small business entities. Then macroeconomics deals with the aggregate economy. What's the difference between positive and the normative economics? Anyone? Even from here, you can participate.
Positive is positive economics is the way it is, like, it can be proven statistically.
Yeah.
The normative basically what you think it should be.
Okay.
Those are samples and then those are factors.
People have distinction already. Okay, so there is an answer from here. They are saying that the positive economics looks at the facts, the reality. They say that it can be positive, it can be proven, right? Using scientific reasoning, scientific methods. And then normative. Normative is the opposite. Like these are basically the opinions of people, and they cannot be proven using scientific methods. Can't prove the opinion. Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay. Clearly state the fundamental questions of economics. What are the fundamental questions that economics addresses? Do you remember the fundamental questions? Number one?
What to produce?
What are the basic questions of economics?
What to produce? How to produce?
How to produce?
And for whom to produce?
For whom to produce? Okay, just those things, really, like they are not very difficult. So what to produce, that question is answered by the productive function, like by the firms. What do we need to produce? How to produce, that question just asking about the technology, the ways that we're going to use in producing. And then when it comes to whom, okay, that's your target market. Okay. The target market. Who is your target what? Your target market. What is PPF? Okay. What are factors that shift the PPF? No, yes. What are some of the factors that shift the PPF? Anyone? Factors shifting the PPF? Anyone? Improvement in technology, isn't it? When there's improvement in technology, what else? Can I have the, sorry? There is an increase in population. There's a suggestion here that increase in population, what else? There is
increase in particle.
They're saying that there is income. I'm just saying what people are saying.
There is the availability of resources. There should be
availability of resources from online. Okay. So what I don't want you to mix is the factors are making the demand curve to shift. This is not a demand curve. This is a PPF. Okay, I want you to draw that sharp line. That difference. Okay, don't get the factors that are affecting demand to be the ones affecting PPF. So we said there is change in technology, there is donation, right? When you have a grant or a donation, remember those things. What else? Discover of new resources. Discover of new what? Of new resources. So I think that is what the PPF will say that. All right. On the shapes of PPF, what did he say? What do they imply? The different shapes of the PPF. Let's start with the convex one. The convex one. The convex PPF is like this one. It is like this one. This is convex. Okay. Convex PPF, fine. Convex, like this one. Down and copied. What is the convex PPF? A convex PPF is signifying what? What does this signify? What does it imply? It implies decreasing opportunity cost, right? Do you remember these things? It implies decreasing opportunity cost when it is concave. No, when it is convex. But if it is concave, it is like this. This is increasing what? Increasing opportunity what? Opportunity cost. Then when it is a straight line like this one, this is constant what? Constant opportunity what? Opportunity cost. This is constant opportunity cost if it is straight line like that one. Did you get that? Which one? Which one? That's the one that I said. It's constant. Any question? I know we have just remained with 5. Any question? I sent them already, like you already have them. And you already know them. Okay. Briefly explain, but anyway, you know the demand function. Okay, what is the difference between change in demand and the change in quantity demanded? I think I just talked about this 2 days ago in one of the videos. It's only that you don't watch the video. What is the difference between change in quantity demanded and change in demand? Okay.
Demand to other factors other than the price.
Okay, interesting. So from here, they are saying that change in the quantity demanded, it is caused by what? By changes in price, meaning you hold the other factors constant. Then change in demand, it is when you hold the price constantly and you allow other factors to change. So it is caused by the changes in other factors, such as income, price of the related goods, and so forth. What about, what's your take on line? You don't mind? Okay. A demand function, what is a demand function? A demand function, as long as it's a function, just know that it's the relationship between some two variables being drawn, right? So a demand function is a function that draws the relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. Did you get that? The function showing the relationship between what? The relationship between price and the quantity what? Quantity demanded. And the quantity what? Quantity demanded. So like it's a function that shows that relationship. It depicts that relationship which is there. And then when you say demand schedule, this is the table of the numbers, right? The table of the numbers, like the table of the pricing, and what? And the quantity. All right? This table of numbers, the table of price and quantities. So it shows that it shows the quantity that can be what? Demanded at respective what? Prices. Let's say you have these prices: 1, 2 quarter, at 2 quarter demand 7, at 5 quarter demand 9. Oh no, you can't be going up like that. From at 1 quarter, you demand what? 5. When the price goes to 2 quarter, you demand 4. When it goes to 5, you demand 3. When it goes to 7, you demand 1. You get that? So this table, it gives us what is called a demand what? Schedule. Once you plot this, the price against the quantity, you come up with the demand curve. So the demand curve is basically gotten from the demand schedule, right? A demand curve. It's a graph now. A demand curve now is a graph. Relationship between price and quantity. Yes. Yeah. So the graph is called the demand curve. Then the table of the numbers is called the demand schedule, but the function is called the demand function. Did you get that? Yeah, you already know this, and you know this. This is good. Any question? Oh, there is a question. What does the law of demand say? Maybe let me end on the law of demand. The law of demand. What does the law of demand say? Okay, they are saying that here there is an inverse relationship between the quantity demanded and the what? And the price. Means when you increase the price, the quantity demanded decreases, and vice versa. Okay, finally, before you can go home or before you can log out, those who are online, I am running you through the factors affecting demand just by mentioning them. I know I taught them. They are there, you have them, and you have them in the video. The factors, what are some of the factors affecting demand? Let's just listen them. We have income. Even from online, you can tell us still. That's still part of the class. Hello? Factors affecting demand. So the price of the related goods, the price of the commodity, the own price, the income, what else? All right, Admin, you can stop recording the class. You can stop recording the class. Don't leave. Where is the recording? Oh, yes, pause. You stop recording.